Today we will be discussing the Levendary Cafe case. First, we will address the competencies needed to succeed, followed by the activities of a restaurant that can be globalized and the activities that need to be adjusted on a market-to-market basis. We will then discuss what products Levendary is selling to the US and China, followed by an analysis of the common size income statements for both Levendary Cafe and their Chinese operations. Finally, we will discuss Levendary's mode of entry for China and if it truly was the best fit for their operation. For international multi-unit restaurants, there are a variety of core competencies that are required in order to succeed in a foreign market. The first competency that we believe is absolutely necessary for success is the ability to recognize cultural differences. Levendary has found great success in the US based off their commitment to high quality ingredients and wholesome soups and sandwiches. But what is successful in one market may not be in another. Many fast food restaurants have attempted and failed to move internationally because of their failure to recognize cultural differences. As we will discuss later on in our presentation, it is extremely important to be able to distinguish between what products can be globalized and what may need to be adjusted for foreign markets. The second competency that an international multi-unit restaurant needs to be proficient in is the ability to clearly communicate through the chain of command. Running a business domestically as well as internationally requires a very clear line of communication between the home and host market. The CEO in the home market wants to ensure that their product is delivered with the same quality their brand is known for. This is impossible without direct communication happening often. The third and final competency a business must possess before moving internationally is a willingness to take risks. The decision to move internationally itself is such a huge risk, one that many other successful restaurants have made and failed at. Moving internationally is a poor decision for any business that isn't willing to risk failure. International multi-unit restaurants have to make many decisions when moving internationally. One of the most important of these decisions is what activities to globalize and what activities need to be adjusted on a market-to-market basis. There are many activities that require no adjustment before moving into a host market. Many logistical processes such as distribution chains, product assembly, and employee training can be the same no matter the country. Financial and accounting procedures can and also probably should be kept globalized. There are many activities, however, that require adjustment from a market-to-market basis. As discussed earlier, many restaurants' products have the chance to fail if they are not in line with the consumer's taste. Many restaurants have found great success by offering the brand of American restaurants while appealing to local taste. The same can be said for the colors and styles used to decorate the restaurant. The light earth tones that Levendary Cafe is known for may reflect health and freshness in America, but those colors could have a completely different connotation in a host market. In the US, Levendary Cafe is selling more high-quality, wholesome choices than other quick-service providers and a more informal, self-serve dining experience than other casual dining restaurants. Levendary's philosophy of delighting the customer is translated into local menu adaptations, and the company is committed to evolving menu choices by featuring in-trend, healthy ingredients with their corporate chefs who are highly trained artisans from top cooking schools in the world. In China, however, Levendary's philosophy is not applied to what they are selling, and the restaurants change depending on local preferences. Most of the Levendary Cafe locations change their restaurant outlook entirely by focusing less on high-quality choices or table service and focus more on the customer preferences with cheap costs. For example, in Shanghai Koreatown location, there were changes made to the menu that didn't include any high-quality choices. No form of table service was provided, and the average check was only $2. These changes not only go against Levendary's strategy, but they weren't supervised by anyone besides Louis Chen for China's first year of business. In the common size income statement for Levendary's consolidated and Chinese operations, you can see that Levendary Cafe stores in China are shown as resulting in a net loss for the first year as of October 31st. However, as said in the case, the plan was to build a credible foundation of stores in China and try to break even within the first year, so having a net loss for the first year was to be expected and wasn't what was wrong with these stores. The food costs were influenced by the cost of ingredients purchased and the amount of waste created. In the US, these typically account for 28 to 32% of total revenue. However, due to the immense amount of food and beverages Levendary cafes in China needed to purchase in the first year, food costs covered 51% of total revenue. Also, Levendary had to change their menus in order to relate better with China's cultural differences, so some preferred choices in food will cost differently than others. Also, China had cheaper labor costs relative to the US, and in the income statement, Levendary's labor costs in China were only 12% of total revenue, which is far less than Levendary's labor costs in the US. The occupancy costs for Levendary had a high difference in China and were extremely high for the first year, being 24% of total revenue. These occupancy costs included costs such as real estate rental, common area maintenance, energy, and waste disposal, which would increase more in the first year of any business. Levendary's cafe advantage is having more wholesome food choices in their menus that are flexible to change depending on people's food preferences. So Levendary cafes in China are performing as expected in their first year and will continue to increase their revenue while also diminishing their costs and expenses. However, when comparing the Beijing embassy location to the Shanghai Koreatown location in China, you see a substantial difference in their sales, menu, seating, and personalized table service. The Levendary Cafe in Shanghai Koreatown had to make more changes to the restaurant in order to make sales and isn't consistent with how Levendary Cafe should be operating. The mode of entry that Levendary used to enter China is called a greenfield strategy. Greenfield is a form of foreign direct investment where a company starts a new venture in a foreign country by constructing new operational facilities and stores from the ground up. Since Levendary wanted complete control over their stores in China, Greenfield was a good mode of entry to do, and Levendary was able to remain in complete control over their brand, quality, and strategy. However, the negative part of the greenfield strategy entry is cost and expenses that come with constructing new operational stores rather than renting currently built ones. Levendary could have chosen other modes of entry with less amounts of expenses such as joint venture, licensing, or franchising. If Levendary were able to choose another mode of entry, I would suggest using franchising when entering into a foreign country, where costs and expenses are lower since it's basically licensing or renting without rules of operations, and this entry is useful when dealing with locations with significant cultural and political differences. However, franchising will have less control and a lack of coordination between the home and host countries for the company. Levendary made a good decision when using Greenfield to enter China, even with the extra cost, because it gives Levendary complete control over their stores and allows them to do what they're known for.